Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. The Ming dynasty was a magnificent and turbulent period in Chinese history. From the founding emperor Zhu Yuanzhong to the later Yongle emperor Zhu Di, many widely celebrated stories were left behind. In the early Ming era, famous generals emerged in large numbers, such as Su De, Chang Yuchen, and Li Wenzhong. They distinguished themselves in battle and gained widespread fame. However, by the time of Zhu Di's Yongle reign, prominent generals became rare. Far less brilliant and dazzling than during the Hongwu reign. Why was this the case? To understand why famous generals were scarce during the Yongle era, we need to look back to Zhu Yuanzhong's Hongwu reign. The Ming Taizu Zhu Yuanzhong came from humble origins and experienced immense hardship in his youth, which not only forged his willpower but also made him extremely sensitive to issues of power and loyalty. After founding the Ming dynasty, Zhu Yuanzhong relied on a group of meritorious nobles from Huaishi to build his empire. These founding officials, such as Su De and Chang Yuchen, achieved outstanding military exploits. However, as the nation stabilized, some of these officials gradually became corrupt, and instances of bribery and misconduct became increasingly common. Zhu Yuanzhong detested corrupt officials with a passion, and his suspicion grew stronger with age. To consolidate imperial power, he launched a series of purges late in his reign, historically known as the Hu Weiyong case and the Lan Yu case. The Lan Yu case, in particular, was wide-reaching, resulting in the execution of many meritorious officials such as Lan Yu and Fu Yud. These individuals were not only brave commanders on the battlefield, but also the backbone of the military system. Their elimination led directly to a gap in military talent during the early Ming period. Even more critically, Zhu Yuanzhong's heir, Crown Prince Zhu Biao, died young. His successor, Zhu Yunwen, was inexperienced and lacked authority, making it impossible for him to control the arrogant and fierce generals at court. Thus, Zhu Yuanzhong's purges only served to consolidate imperial power in the short term. Later, during the Jingnan campaign, the court of Emperor Jiangwen, Zhu Yunwen, was not without capable individuals. Figures such as Sheng Yong, Tai Xian, and Su Huizu displayed excellent military prowess on the battlefield and put Zhu Di under great pressure. Tai Xian in particular fiercely defended Jingnan, causing significant difficulties for Zhu Di. Had Zhu Yunwen been able to better trust and utilize these generals, history might have turned out differently. However, Zhu Yunwen was young and inexperienced, and failed to make full use of their talents, ultimately losing to Zhu Di. After Zhu Di took the throne, he faced a dilemma regarding these generals who had once been loyal to Zhu Yunwen. On the one hand, they were highly talented militarily, and were rare assets. On the other hand, their loyalty raised deep doubts in Zhu Di's mind, because Zhu Di's ascension to the throne was not entirely legitimate. There was considerable opposition both inside and outside the court. As a result, he remained wary of these former officials, and dared not entrust them with important responsibilities. This led to the marginalization of many individuals who might have become famous generals during the Yongle era. Meanwhile, the Jingnan generals Zhu Di had relied upon suffered heavy losses. Zhang Yu, Zhu Di's most capable subordinate, died in battle during the campaign. Zhu Neng, another promising young general, died not long after the campaign ended, at only 37 years old. The remaining Qiu Fu, though brave, was far inferior to Zhang Yu and Zhu Neng in terms of strategy and leadership. Later, during a northern expedition to the Mongols, Qiu Fu's reckless pursuit of merit led to the annihilation of his entire army, further exacerbating the Yongle court's shortage of military talent. In addition to these historical burdens, the personal characteristics of Emperor Yongle, Zhu Di, himself were a key reason for the scarcity of famous generals during his reign. Zhu Di was known as the Emperor on Horseback. His military talent and personal charisma were unmatched among Ming emperors. Even Zhu Yuanzhong once said that Zhu Di was the son who most resembled him. Zhu Di's brilliance was so overwhelming that other generals seemed to pale in comparison. In his youth, Zhu Di had studied tactics under founding generals such as Su De and Li Wenzhong, gaining extensive military experience. Even after ascending the throne, he personally led troops into battle. Zhu Di's campaigns against the Mongols in the north and his pacification of Annam showcased his extraordinary military leadership skills. His military achievements were so illustrious they could be compared to those of the Han dynasty's legendary general Hua Zubing, who famously sealed the wolf at Jushu. In the presence of such an emperor, what general would dare claim to be the greatest of all? Moreover, Zhu Di's claim to the throne was illegitimate and fraught with controversy. To prove his legitimacy, he chose to establish his authority through external military campaigns. The repeated northern expeditions and the campaign against Annam during the Yongle reign were all personally led by Zhu Di himself, as he strove to cleanse his reputation through military achievements. However, following the death of Zhu Ning, the deployment of Zhang Fu to guard Annam, and the defeat of Qiu Fu, Zhu Di had fewer and fewer reliable generals by his side. He became increasingly hesitant to entrust important responsibilities to his subordinates, often opting to lead campaigns personally. This hands-on leadership style, while earning Zhu Di great military prestige, also deprived other generals of opportunities to independently take command, making it difficult for them to shine. It is worth mentioning that Zhu Di's 5 northern campaigns were the centerpiece of the Yongle reign's military operations, and are a key backdrop for understanding the scarcity of renowned generals. These expeditions aimed to strike the Tatar and Oirat forces of the Mongolian steppe and to secure the Ming dynasty's northern frontiers. However, the campaigns also exposed the lack of military talent during the Yongle reign. The first northern campaign took place in 1410, in which Zhu Di led his army to defeat the Tatars along the Onan River, forcing their leader Uruftai to submit. But due to water shortages, the Ming army had to retreat, and the results were limited. In the second campaign in 1414, the target shifted to the rising Oirat tribe. Zhu Di inflicted heavy damage on the Oirat main force at Kangxi Huizwan, but the Ming army also suffered significant losses. The third campaign in 1422 saw the Tatars avoid direct confrontation, and the Ming forces returned without success. The fourth and fifth campaigns eventually crushed the Tatar forces, but Zhu Di died on the return journey of the final expedition. Across these 5 northern campaigns, Zhu Di personally led nearly every one, revealing his deep mistrust of his generals. Qiu Fu's failure made Zhu Di even more cautious. He would rather endure the hardships of war himself than hand over military command to others. Under such circumstances, generals during the Yongle reign had few chances to showcase their talents, making it naturally difficult for figures like Su De or Chang Yuchen to emerge. Nonetheless, there were still some standout generals during the Yongle era. Duke of Ying, Zhang Fu, was one notable exception. He rose to prominence during the Jingnan campaign, and later performed exceptionally well in the pacification of Annam. His strategic insight and leadership ability earned Zhu Di's deep trust, making him one of the few military pillars in the latter years of the Yongle reign. To some extent, Zhang Fu's presence filled the gap left by the absence of other famous generals, and provided important support for Zhu Di's external campaigns. However, Zhang Fu's brilliance still paled in comparison to Zhu Di's. He mostly carried out tasks under Zhu Di's direct command, and lacked the autonomy seen in generals like Su De during the Hongwu reign. This indirectly reflects the military structure of the Yongle era. Zhu Di's dominant leadership limited the room for generals to operate freely. According to some historians, the scarcity of famous generals in the Yongle era was due to a combination of factors. From this chapter of history, we can see that the rise and fall of a dynasty depends not only on the emperor's personal abilities, but also on the broader historical context and the availability of talent. The story of the Yongle reign reminds us that the emergence of great generals requires a convergence of the right time, right place, and the right people. Conditions that, unfortunately, were not fully present during Zhudi's reign. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.